All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Plug Into Your Life podcast. I'm here with Ashley, and I came across Ashley on Instagram actually, and her videos and stuff that she's doing was just so funny and so awesome. And I just loved her realness and can't wait to share her with you guys. But Ashley, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you even get into the space on Instagram, and maybe diving into what your life was like before you got into spirituality.
Yeah, hi, thank you so much for having me on here. This is so much fun. Okay, I guess I'll start with, who I identified with before, and that was a hairstylist in Toronto, Canada. And I was
Your hair
very
looks great, by the way.
cute. Yours too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I identified a lot with, like, I am a hairstylist, and I did it for 10 years. I was very successful. I was making more money than I ever thought I would. I had a huge clientele, and I just found I was so empty. Um,
Mm.
but through that 10 years, I was also working on myself spiritually. And I never really talked about it with anyone because it was something that wasn't, I guess, trendy like right now. I feel like meditation and mindfulness is very trendy right now. So people are like open to it. But back when I was doing it, I was going to um, little meditation centers with Buddhist monks.
Really? That's cool.
And just learning how to meditate with
Wait,
them.
where do you do that at?
They were like these. Toronto is an amazing place because it's so diverse.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I was just walking past this like it said like meditation, modern meditation, and I was like, "What is that?" I was 19, so I went in there, and at the time I was dealing with bad depression, bad anxiety. I had psoriasis and eczema all over my skin,
Wow.
acne. I hunched over. I was just not a happy human.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, I walked into this place, and for $3, I did a meditation class. And at the end of it, I walked out like, this is amazing. Like, this is so good. I was instantly like, wow. I started to attend like 3 or 4 times a week, like classes where monks would speak and talk about life and consciousness.
In
And
Toronto.
yeah,
That's so cool.
I'd have people fly in, and
Wow.
it was just so amazing. I was so grateful for it. And a lot of the times it was just by donation.
Hmm.
So I was working on my hair, and I was getting more and more successful. But I have to say, I think majority of my success was coming from myself working on myself,
Hmm.
spiritually, mentally, emotionally, through meditation, mindfulness, and other aspects, and learning about different religions and going deep within myself.
Now, real quick there, because I think a lot of people can relate to like the depression feeling, some health conditions going on, and maybe they feel like, they're going to doctors all the time, or there's just kind of hopeless or whatever. I myself too had all kinds of issues. Um, was there anything in your life that was like crazy, or was it just a normal life that you just had these issues and you just couldn't find?
Um, my life was kind of crazy. Like,
Yeah.
so my dad left when I was 3, and he
Okay.
was an alcoholic and super into like drugs and partying and all that. And then my mom, she's bipolar and extremely depressed, and so I felt like she wasn't really around a lot, or when she was around, it was very hard to dictate what level she would be on. So we grew up with very poor.
Yeah.
And
Smoking and all that.
yeah, and then I moved out when I was, 18, 19, and moved to like the big city. And I think I had a stressed out childhood. I was always stressed out. There was always anxiety and stress around money, and, we have no food, or I can't get no Christmas presents, or things like that, that
Yeah.
were externally affecting my stress and anxiety. And I hated the world around me.
Hmm.
I remember just like, I didn't have love for anyone around me because I didn't love myself. if that,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hated everyone because I blamed them for the trauma that I was going through.
Just I don't mean to keep jumping in, but I think it's really important because a lot of people, they have these things that happen to them as kids, and I know you know about this being in this space. And what I've learned is that these emotions that we kind of bury down inside of us, they kind of present themselves as some type of dis-ease or some type of health condition, or can show up as depression or all kinds of things. So um, okay, so then your first experience going into a meditation, you immediately had a profound experience with that then. So do you think that's normal for people to have a first time experience like that? And what kind of, can you describe like going through the steps of kind of awakening?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because like I've meditated, I'm sure you have as well, meditated with people for the first time, tears,
Yeah.
because they finally allowed themselves to just take a breath. Like how beautiful. I think I just got like, can you see the hair?
Yeah, I did too.
So it's amazing in that aspect to watch someone just feel free for a second of the torture that we do to ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
And then I guess my journey from there was really interesting, almost magical, because I started to meditate, and then I started to meet interesting people, and people would come into my lives. And one person spoke about something called ayahuasca, right? And then
Yep.
spoke about DMT. And I was like, ooh, what is this? And then I started to jump into the realm of plant medicine and realized how powerful that was. And it's just been a continuous journey from that point.
And side note, if you guys don't know what those things are, YouTube it. But ayahuasca is a sacred plant medicine that they've been using for tens of thousands of years. I think maybe not that long. I don't know, but it's been around a long time.
Long time.
Yeah. And I myself too have had experience with that. So very powerful stuff. Not to be taken lightly. Very, very profound.
Not, and that's,
Um,
I think that's what came into my mind when you said, waking up,
mm,
really waking up. I was continuously working on myself. So I started reading every day, started just being more interested and open to everyone and
mm.
loving myself. And then because I was loving myself, I stopped judging other people as much. And I was starting to send them love. And then what it feels like, it comes right back at you. And my psoriasis and eczema cleared up. As you can see, my acne is gone. And most of the scars that I had, gone.
Mm.
Um, I feel more energized now that I'm 30 than I did when I was 19, 20. I was so tired all the time. No
Mm.
energy.
Now, did
So
your diet change as well?
I actually, after I had the first experience with DMT, I it was like the next day, I didn't want to eat any meat.
Isn't that funny?
What?
Yeah.
I was disgusted by meat,
Yeah.
like flesh for some reason. So my diet did change a bit. I never want to touch drugs again. I stopped smoking. Now, don't get me wrong, I do smoke ever so often now. And I do allow myself to indulge in specific things, but I make sure I'm not doing it in a way that is, how do I explain? Like, I'm smoking because I'm stressed. It's more like I'm on the beach. I'm like, you know what? I'll have a puff of a smoke.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm still spiritual. I'm still like, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
like eating a slice of cake. As long as you're not eating that all day, every day,
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah. It's strange how I'm a huge like pusher on mind, body, soul, like balancing all of those things, but
Yeah.
then also allowing yourself to like, beat yourself up over indulging in certain things. So like when you kind of break away from that old self, it's almost like you became a new person. And that person doesn't like doing those things all the time because you're more connected to yourself and others. And through that, now myself too, I can pick and choose things that I want to allow myself to experience, but I'm not doing it because I need to do it like I used to. It's I'm not living in the past anymore and those emotions that trap me to that old person. But you brought up some plant medicines and stuff, but I don't want anyone to think that they need to do plant medicines to have an awakening.
No.
But you started out with meditation. How did that progress, and even into like what you're doing now?
Yeah, the meditation was definitely, I have to say, what was the initial wake up to reality.
Mm.
It was like, it was the big wake up call, and it was so simple. And that's what led me to like, now I was like, okay, I'm interested. I'm going to jump into other things. But I think you're right. And it was so simple. I think the first time we meditated, I simply just sat there. We visualized white light going in, filling up my body, and any tension that was in my body, I visualized that as black smoke. And then I breathed that out and watched it disappear into the abyss. And I did that for 30 minutes. And then when I left, it was like,
Crazy, right?
that magic?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if someone's listening that's never meditated before, I can imagine them thinking like white light and smoke. Like, come on, that's stupid or something. I don't know. But I think our intentions are so profound in our lives that we don't even realize. Like, I just actually posted this video of who was it? Jessica Alba, who did a video on her sister doing this experiment. There's a couple of people that have done this, and there's two plants. One plant, they're both the same exact thing. They had the same water, same light, same everything. And she bullied one, told it it's a horrible plant, it's gonna die. All these, I don't know what she said, but whatever. It was really negative. And then the other plant loved on it, cared for it, and just kind of sent it good energy. My mom used to tell me to talk to plants all the time, and I never listened to it. But when she did that, the one plant that she was negative to actually died, and the other one like grew twice as big. So there's so much science around this. So when you're talking about imagining white light and imagining black smoke as the negative energy, it's all about where you're placing your attention, I believe, right? So you're placing your attention on the positive, on the good energy inside of you, and then you're becoming aware of the negative energy, and then your intention is releasing that, right? Okay.
Yeah. I think what you said there too is like, when you said science, and I always tell people, imagine we go back 1,000 years, and then try to tell the people then what we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you know you can pick up a device, speak into it, and it will call China?
Yeah.
Go, you're a witch.
Yeah. You're going to burn at the stake now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine the things that we're doing now that science just hasn't caught up to.
Mhm.
Some of the spiritual things, I'm sure you've experienced magic with ayahuasca, because I have.
Yeah.
I can't explain it to people, but I know in my heart it's true. But
Yeah.
I can't explain it because I'm not a scientist and we haven't caught up yet. But that doesn't mean it's not true. So
Yeah.
I try to explain that analogy to people who are kind of, weirded out by meditation, or they think it's voodoo or something like that. And I'm like, my main purpose is just to help you. I don't want you to be spiritual. I just want to help and, create.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep your religion, keep your beliefs, whatever it is, but just open your mind to some other additional tools that are going to help you. And I think by releasing that judgment and just trying it, because it can't hurt, for Pete's sake, you're just sitting there, right? So yeah. And I think people, in my experience anyways, people that have tried it for the first time even have had profound experiences, you know. Okay, so now so you've gone through this process of learning meditation, you've had some other spiritual experiences that kind of awakened you up. You brought up business and some other life experiences. I myself too was in business that I walked away from. What was that aha moment? And I know with COVID and stuff happening, that was probably a big factor in it. But can you explain a little bit about your shift from a normal life to, a more free life, really, right?
Yeah, I think right now I'm on the train of freedom. And
Mm,
um, the whole experience, I think the biggest kick in the butt from the universe for me was when Canada did some of their mandates that I just didn't agree with.
mm,
And I realized if I stay here, this is going to take away my perspective of my freedom.
mm.
I need to go. But there is that fear attached to leaving.
It's a
And
big one.
oh God,
Yeah.
scary. So scary because, 10 years of my life, I was focusing, creating this business, identified so hard with hairstylists, but I knew deep down something had to change. And then the universe was like, okay, go change. And there's a part of me that's like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm over you. I'm over you.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you this journey that I've been on since leaving. I left Canada October 28th,
Mm,
right before some of the mandates came in. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I
mm,
knew I had to help people. I knew I have a gift for meditation, mindfulness, and I know that's my purpose. But where I was going to live month to month, that changes.
mm.
And who I'm going to meet. And in a couple months, I might go travel somewhere else. And it's, I thought I would have so much anxiety, but I actually feel so free.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Incredible.
really cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if anybody's listening and you're in a lifestyle or a life experience that you're not happy with, or even I try to tell people too, like when you have that inner voice that's just trying to get out and say, I don't like this anymore, but you feel trapped, like, oh my God, there's so much fear. When I left, it was like, what am I going to do about money? What am I going to do about this? What about all these relationships that I've had for years? Like all that time is wasted. And you just start building this giant fear over, you know, what if you fail? What if you can't do it? And yeah, it was so, I just, at this time I was meditating and stuff already. And I would just ask, like, okay, when I feel that feeling again, I'm going to know that it's time. And, that first step really was the hardest one. But once you start walking, man, it's addicting to just let go of stuff and just be free, and just trust.
I read in a book, and this helps me. I don't, if this doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. But this, for some reason, helps my anxiety so much. And it sounds kind of crazy, but I think about what is the worst thing that can happen. I think about that situation. So, for instance, um, it, what's the worst thing that can happen right now? I fail and I run out of money and have to go back to Canada or something. Oh, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Fine, I'll figure it. Okay, what's the worst thing that I die? Oh, that's okay too. Okay.
You could die anyways.
I might as well live my life. So
Yeah.
I think it's figuring out. Here's a good relationship one that I figured out. How people. I'm sure you've met people who are very attached to their partner, and they're so afraid of losing them.
Hmm.
And I've had to say, look, visualize yourself losing that person. You've lost them. Now what? Get on with your life.
Yeah.
Let them go. Like allow them to go, and that person will actually feel that freedom.
Hmm.
They probably will be less like they'll be less likely to leave you because they're not
Yeah.
going to feel like you have a grip on them anymore.
Yeah. I think being scared of that emotion, to talk about that emotion and what the other person's going to think about you and that fear behind that. I'm a real big pusher for showing young people to be open about how they really feel inside, yeah, that's a really big shift. And so now you're free. Let's just plug in here. Like what services, how can people reach you? I know you do a lot of one-on-one,
Yeah.
um, a lot of people that are new or thinking about meditating, how can they get a hold of you?
So yeah, I guess you and I are different. We're in the meditative section, but I really try to push the. Um, I'm like the most not spiritual person.
Yes.
So I want to attract the people who have been trying to meditate, or getting the apps, or they go on YouTube and they're just overwhelmed by the meditation area, but they're open to it, and for some reason they're just not getting anywhere with it.
Mm.
And I want to be that person to help guide. Like, let's sit down, let's talk about your week, I'll guide you through a personal meditation, and then we talk about that meditation and how it makes you feel, and then I give you some homework for the rest of the week. And that's what I offer. And I mainly want to just help people free their mind. And I don't care your religion, I don't care if you're spiritual, if you're not, if you believe in God, if you don't. The techniques that I use are simple, just very, very simple. And my job is to guide the person to work on themselves. You can find me at on my Instagram. So I just started it a couple months ago. So it's Ashley's Mindfulness Society. And my website is currently under construction.
All right. So I'm going to put a plug down there, guys, where you can click on her Instagram, just DM her if you're interested in working with Ashley. Very amazing story and transformation on that. So in meditation, though, I want to kind of bring up like what like three, if you could like pick out like three things that would help someone with their meditation, or maybe if they haven't started or they are getting into it and they're interested in possibly reaching out. But you had like three takeaways from all of your experiences in meditation. What would you say those three things would be for meditating?
The main one that just popped into my mind was love. Meditation has a lot to do with just being kind to yourself during the process. And, your brain is going to think. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to sit down, it's going to think. And it's that moment there where you go, oh, I'm thinking, and then kindness. So instead of going, oh, you idiot, you're supposed to be meditating, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And be kind to yourself, continue. And that translates a lot into real life. You mess up on something, that's okay. Be kind to yourself and have love for yourself. I guess that was like something that popped up right away for me.
Yeah, that's a huge one. I think that's a big misconception. I mean, I had to learn that the hard way. I was getting so angry at myself because I was addicted to my thinking. It was just like nonstop.
Yeah.
I believed I had ADD and all this crap, and when I just started sitting with myself, someone had mentioned like, don't fight the thoughts, just be aware of them and just kind of watch them as like little blimps, going by.
Little clouds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do a full visualization where I think of my thought as a cloud. I'm like, oh, hey, cloud. And then I breathe it out. And okay, it's okay, just very calmly. And then I visualize my brain as almost kind of emptying, releasing, letting those thoughts go instead of fighting them.
That's a big one. Yeah. And then I take it breathing is probably another one.
Yes. So breathing, yes. Breathing, I think, is really cool because, like, a little fact that I always thought was wonderful was, if you cannot get your breathing under control, let's say you're having an anxiety attack and you can't get your breathing like crazy, your brain will knock you out so that you can breathe properly. So that means that there's an intelligence within your body that doesn't need you to control your breathing. And so when I meditate, sometimes I don't want to control my breathing. I just sit with the breath and allow my body to breathe as it likes and just focus on the breath. But it's a beautiful anchor to keep anyone grounded through meditation. So anytime you're having a hard time through the meditation, I always say, like, go back to your breath because it's always there. It's never going away. You have to do it. And your body does it unconsciously. So
There's even some books and research out that people, I think it was on the Aubrey Marcus podcast, saying that your breath can heal anything. It's
yeah,
such a powerful tool.
yeah. I think the next big one is sounds for me.
Sounds.
So because in my personal experience, I feel like when we go into a meditation, there's always external things that can happen. Even if you go into a meditation center, you'll hear someone coughing or sneezing, and you hear things around you that's like the universe is trying to distract you. So what I like to say is, it's okay. These sounds are around. Now that sound is my object of awareness. Now that
I
sound,
saw your video on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now that sound is my anchor. Here in Mexico, across the street from me, there are I think about 20 roosters. So they have been part of my meditation for the past couple of weeks, and it's beautiful because now I was so frustrated with them. But now they are like, oh, this is my calm. My roosters are here with me to meditate. Like, I don't hate them anymore. They bring me calm.
That I just want to interject a little story about that. I was in a ceremony actually, and a guy came in and he was very stressed out, and like he was bringing like all of this negative energy into this like nice calm meditation space. And my first reaction to it was judgment and criticism and like condemnation, just like, oh God, this guy needs to leave, like, and judging it and all that stuff. And then I just became aware of that and realizing that I'm only noticing what I don't like about him. I don't know how you would do that with the roosters, but but I shifted that like you did with the roosters, where he must be really struggling inside to be projecting that,
Sending him
and
love.
yeah, and I just shifted to love. And wouldn't you know it, that guy ended up being the one that gave me a recommendation for this center that wants to partner with me now, as like this big partnership, and it's going to be like a huge opportunity for me. And if I would have held on to that judgment and not talked to him and not done that stuff, like I would have lost that opportunity, And I think it's the same with meditation and roosters and noises and our thoughts, like not judging stuff anymore. It's such a habit, I think, as a human race.
Yeah, like, well, how can I judge that rooster is bad? How is that rooster bad? Maybe the people across the street need those roosters for income.
Yeah.
Or maybe those roosters are supposed to be waking me up early in the morning so I can get the day started. I think there's always a reason why. I love your story too. I don't know how much time we have, but I have a story from a ceremony too.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, there was a man. I don't know. I don't think he'll ever watch this. His name's Ronnie.
All right, Ronnie, we're looking for you.
Ronnie. And oh my God, I remember when I met him, I was so irritated by his personality. There was something about him irritated me, and I was judging him. And then we went into our first ceremony, and they did our placement. And of course, he's
right next to you. Yeah, that's how it works.
And then I was like, come on, man. And the first ceremonial night, he was very vocal. But he had worked with plant medicine before. He was very vocal, moving around a lot. He was frustrating me a lot. And then it got to our fourth ceremony, and I went through it. Like, I went really through it. It was terrifying and amazing all at the same time. And he helped me so much. Like, he helped me to a point where, he like I felt like he was like a father figure to me. Like he was such a
Mm.
peaceful, amazing energy. And at the end of all the ceremonies, at the end of the 9 days, I I'm like that you're one of my best friends. And it ended up he lived in Toronto and we met up many, many times. And he was just so insightful and so um, just such an amazing energy because he was clearly going through shit that first ceremony. So he and I was judging him.
Yeah.
When I went through it, he had nothing but love and kindness for me. And wow,
Kind of
I
funny
made
how that works, right?
so I was so grateful to. I'm like, I don't think I could have got through that without him actually being there.
Where do you think that judgment comes from? Do you think that's recognizing something we don't, a characteristic we don't like about ourselves?
100%.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so too.
totally. I think it's a projection. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like my mom. She annoys me so bad sometimes. I love you, mom, but I know I'll catch myself like doing something similar. I'm like, oh my God. It's so funny. But yeah, it's so true. And I think becoming aware of that judgment and criticism is like the first part of steps to changing that.
Yeah, the judgment. I think as well. I I used to judge people so much. I
So
think
much. Oh my God. Every single person I love people watching, but it was really just my opportunity to judge everybody.
but it was because I didn't have enough money to buy nice clothing.
Mm,
So I would judge someone who had nice clothing going, what are they wearing? But it was because I didn't feel like I looked nice.
yeah.
It was something so external and superficial. And now I couldn't care less. I, like
Yeah. Who
it doesn't
cares?
matter. If you want to wear a tutu, do it up as long as you're happy and you're not hurting
Yeah.
anybody.
And when you're like, I've been around millionaires and I've been homeless at one point in my life. And the funny thing is, they're all the same people. It's just, it's just their mindset over their life, and it's so funny. But yeah, so okay, being observant of time. So what is it like now, Ashley? What you've gone through all these transformations, these awareness over yourself and others, you're practicing meditation, you're helping others now. What would you say? How is your journey now? And what can people expect as they go along this journey?
Yeah, I mean, my journey now is really interesting because, I felt like, oh, I woke up, I'm awake.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, start over again. Like, I feel like every day is just a new chapter and it's a continuous, like, that's why we're here. It never ends.
Mm.
I'm just always working on myself, always working on myself. Um, I have to say, through this process, a lot of letting go, you know, just letting go of external things and not being attached to things or people or experiences um, has been a big thing through travel. I like to travel light. And I think about all the things I used to have.
Mm.
I didn't need all those things. I have 2 pairs of shoes right now, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
And the amount of, and it's funny actually, now that I'm going through this process of really, really deeply working on myself, I have looked at people I used to think were my friends and gone, wow, I think I have to let those people go too. This
Yeah.
is hard, but I have to do it. Um, and it's the solitude.
Yeah.
It's really important as well. There's been a lot of solitude and loneliness. Um, and I think for me, I have to remind myself while I'm in that loneliness, not to reach out for something external to help that loneliness. It's to sit with the loneliness, sit with myself, and okay, what do I need to figure out in my life right now?
Mm. Yeah.
So it's just up and down, and it's beautiful, and I'm free.
Yeah, and then instead of expecting it to always go up, expect that you're going to have low points. You're going to feel like being lazy for a week and not doing anything, and that's okay.
Yeah, I had like Fruit Loops for dinner last night.
Yeah.
I'm a grown up. I can do
And
it.
I think it's funny too when people are like, I thought you're supposed to be spiritual. Like, why are you doing that or acting like that or saying that? I'm like, I think it's all spiritual. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. It's like I think I really want to get people out of that taboo. The amount of
Yeah.
times I'm asked, "Oh, so you do yoga?" I'm like, "No, I don't do yoga actually.
Yeah.
You can watch me do yoga. It's going to be the
Yeah.
best for everyone."
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but I respect the art of yoga. It's amazing, but it's not something that I do. But that doesn't make me any less spiritual. I feel like there's no spiritual hierarchy.
Yeah.
You know, we're all just on our own path, just working on
And
ourselves.
you find that as you, like, I've been around people that are really like famous spiritual people.
Yeah.
They're just as effed up.
Oh yeah.
They're
No one knows what we're.
It's like, holy shit. Yeah. It's like, I'm so thankful because we're all the same. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I always say
yeah.
that. Anyone who says that they know for sure what's going on here, run.
Yeah.
Anyone who says, you know, I'm a guru, I know, run. Because
Because
they
the
don't
more you end up knowing, the more you realize you don't know anything.
have
I think, you know.
none of that course and through. After what I thought was like, I got all, you know, I did mathematics and the universe and did all this crazy stuff. And then I left going, oh, I know nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, let's do this.
Yeah, it's so funny. All right, Ashley. So let's just jump into the lightning round here. Ready?
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite book, podcast, YouTube video, something that someone can watch or read or do today that was a really big shift for you?
Book. This book changed my life. And it's by a man named Jim Rohn. And I actually don't know if you can get it anymore. Like I think you have to get it as a CD. Like this is how old it is. It's called The Art of Exceptional Living.
Oh,
Amazing. He's dead now, but he left behind almost all of his stuff. He mentored Tony Robbins. He mentored some
wow.
of the biggest names out there. So Jim Rohn, I'm sure you know who Stuart Wilde is.
Name.
Stuart Wilde, he is also dead. He is a spiritual anarchist. He does really cool things. He talks about really cool things. He was way ahead of his time. And all of his stuff is basically free now on YouTube. You can go on YouTube. There's something called the 33 Steps to Your Infinite Self. This, I used to listen to this every day in the morning on my walk to work. Just unreal. He was so ahead of his time. I think those two guys really changed my life. Jim Rohn, Stuart Wilde.
Nice.
Wow.
I think I just recently started seeing Jim Rohn, like little quotes and stuff. Actually, there was like a whole YouTube video on just quotes from him, I believe.
He's a funny guy. He's actually pretty. He's a funny guy. He's very entertaining as he talks. And then what was that next one? The podcast.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Any of them. Podcast, YouTube, book.
Yeah, I love Aubrey Marcus.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
super real. Just doesn't care. Yeah.
He's good. He's good.
All right. Yeah. So I think we're out of time, but Ashley, I just want to thank you and for being on here. It was really nice talking to you, getting to know you. And guys, I'm going to put the links down below for Ashley's Instagram. So you guys can reach out to her, DM her. She'll have all of her stuff up really soon, but you can jump in early and start down your spiritual journey and path. And we're really excited for everyone listening and watching and learning something today. So Ashley, thanks again for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, plug into your life and have a good day.